Hi my cozy viewers, if you're looking for that one perfect cookie recipe that melts the second it hits your tongue, congratulations, you just found it. So in my mixing bowl, I'm going to be adding softened Prestige. So in case you have butter, feel free to use softened butter. So these are 220 grams of Prestige. I'm going to be adding 100 grams of light brown sugar. You can use any granulated sugar. So I'm going to be whipping this up until it is light and fluffy. I'm going to be using a mixer, but if you do not have a mixer, feel free to find maybe a stick or anything that you can use to whip this up until it is light and fluffy. So guys, thank you so much for clicking to watch my video. In case you are here for your first time, or it is not your first time but you've never subscribed, kindly consider to subscribe before you leave. Otherwise, I'm so grateful for all the subscribers. I'm so grateful for all those that share my recipes with their friends, for all those that leave a comment so that I know that they watched, for all those that leave a like. Thank you guys, thank you so much. So the butter is light and fluffy, so I'm going to be adding my egg. I'm going to mix this until it is smooth, then I'm going to be adding some vanilla essence, and then after that we'll see what next. So note that it is very optional for you to add the egg, but then it gives your cookies like a soft and rich texture. So I'm adding in 1 tablespoon of vanilla essence. So of course vanilla essence is for the flavor. That means that if you do not have it, you can still have your butter cookies. So you don't have to have an excuse. As long as you have some flour, you have some margarine or butter, and you have some sugar, you are good to go. So next I'm sifting my flour. These are 250 grams of flour. I'm going to be sifting it, and this is because when you sift your flour, you remove any lumps, and also it helps you to have like a very light cookie at the end of it all. So I'm going to gently fold in the flour. Do not overmix, please. The cookies will become tough if you overmix, and yet we want something so delicate and something that can literally dissolve when you take a bite. So when the flour is well incorporated in, I'm going to be cutting this into shapes of my preference. So you can either roll this dough out and you cut it to the shapes that you want, or you can just use the piping method that I'm going to be using today. This is my nozzle, and so the shape of your cookies is determined by how the nozzle looks like, right? So in case you want to roll out the dough and you cut it into the shapes of your choice, the best way is to either add a little bit of flour, which I discourage somehow, in case you have an option of the fridge. If you have a fridge, please just chill it a bit for about 30 minutes and then you roll it out. It will be okay. So when you're using this piping method, if you want to chill the dough, you don't chill it before piping. You first pipe and make your shapes on the baking tray, and then after that you put the tray in the fridge, and then you can chill it for about 20 to 25 minutes so that it holds its shape. That is optional though. Like today, I'm not going to be using that method, so do not freak out in case you're making your cookies and you do not have a fridge. Please do not overfill the piping bag. Leave a bit of space at the top. So I used Prestige to make sure that my parchment paper does not move. That is why you see a bit of grease on the parchment paper. So I'm going to be making swirls on my baking sheet. In case you do not have a baking paper or a parchment paper, please put a bit of butter on your tray. Then also at this point your oven should be preheating, so preheat it at 175 degrees Celsius for at least 12 minutes, and then you'll bake at the same temperature for at least 20 minutes. So after 20 minutes, if you want your cookies more brown, then you let them stay for more 5 minutes. So the longer the browner. So I told you the shapes depend on what you want. As you can see, I'm just trying to make round shapes here. I already made the floral ones, so it's just about what you want. Please make sure you give them a bit of space because they are going to sort of melt down, and if they are so close to each other, they might end up getting out of shape. So So these are 9 cookies, but this recipe gives us a total of 18 cookies depending on the size of your cookies. So I'm beginning with 9 cookies, and then I'm going to bake the other 9 later. So straight into my preheated oven, and there you have it. 25 minutes later, guys. Crispy on the outside, buttery perfection on the inside. Oh my goodness, you've got to try this out. So guys, please do not forget to subscribe for more baking magic. Bye!